Hey everybody, Jillian here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you're with me today. In my last video, I shared this entry in Mark using the Fruit of the Spirit collection from Illustrated Faith, and I talked about the inspiration behind this color-wise. And you guys really liked that video, so I thought about doing something similar for today's entry in 1 John, and I'm going to be talking about joy. So I mentioned in my last video I did a Bible study on the fruits of the Spirit. From last year, I never journaled my notes or anything, so I thought it would be really fun to use this collection and go through the fruits of the Spirit listed in Galatians 5. So if you want to check out how this came together, I'll go ahead and link it for you in the video description below. So I'm not going to commit to doing a process video for every single fruit, but I thought I'd follow up today with another video, this time about joy. So the inspiration for today's process video comes from this little Neocolor test that I did. So I pulled out a few Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons I think I might want to use today. I'm always looking for new ways to use these. And at the Illustrated Faith staff retreat, Shauna Noel just totally blessed our socks off, and one of the little gifts that she gave us was a traveler's notebook. So I used mine that weekend to write notes down, and then even try some different techniques here, like how would a Neocolor work with this, or with this, or with this. And so I originally tried it with this little texture stamp that was included in the Gratitude Documented Kit from Illustrated Faith and Dayspring. I believe it's still available. I'll link it if you guys want to check it out. But just any texture stamp that you have would work with this. And then again, I've got the Fruit of the Spirit collection pulled out here within arm's reach, a couple Neocolors, some alpha stickers, things like that. So that's really as far as I've thought. For today's entry, I know I want to talk about joy. I know I'm going to be in 1 John 1:4, and I know I want to try stamping with Neocolor. So we'll see how it comes together. I'm going to go ahead and speed you guys up, and I'll get started. So the first thing I'll do is put my Bible mat down and secure it with some washi tape. Since I'm going to be stamping along the edge of the page, I know that I want to go ahead and use this to keep the page in place. So I'm just using some pineapple washi tape here. That's from Amy Tangerine, and it may make its way onto my page later on. So I'm using an acrylic block to hold the clear stamp, and then I think the way I'm going to apply the Neocolor to the stamp is to dip my finger in water and then cover the stamp with the water, and then take the Neocolor crayon and color over the stamp. And so we'll see the first impression here. I realized I didn't want to go all the way to the edge of the stamp. I don't want any harsh edge lines from the stamp. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep the color to the middle of the stamp. I tried coloring it first and then adding water. That didn't really give me the look I was going for, so I'm going to go ahead and keep putting the water first, then the color, and then wiping off any excess color that remains on the stamp with a baby wipe. You can see the yellow came out really, really vibrant, and I think that's because I've used the yellow crayon more. So I just took my little notebook there and colored those two greens so that they would like be similar to the yellow. I don't know how to explain it. There was just like, it wasn't a brand new crayon. The yellow wasn't a brand new crayon, and so I wanted to take some of the newness off of the greens so that I'd get a better impression. So then I brought in this light pink to the equation, and I'm going to go ahead and add it to the bottom of the page. The setup, or the construction, I guess, for this page is very similar to the one I did most recently, where I have a big element on the top left corner of the page, and then I've got a little cluster on the bottom of the page. So I realized that as I was doing it, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Not all of your Bible journaling entries have to look totally 100% different. And so this just helps me keep the main thing, and not feel like I have to be super original or creative every single time I go to Bible journal. So I ended up adding this darker color pink to it, and I was hesitant to do that at first, but at this point, I'm not sure that I like how this looks. So I'm going to hit it with my heat tool. So I just want to pause for a minute to show you guys how I store my stamps. I've talked about this in maybe like organization videos, but so of course I know you know that stamps are not like a one-time use thing. So you can use them several times over and over throughout the year. So like this is the gratitude documented stamp set. Of course it's not limited to use just for gratitude documented projects, right? So what I like to do is I keep a small 6x8 binder of clear stamps. This is just illustrated faith stamps that I reach for often. And so what I do is after I work through a kit, or if I get a new stamp set, I go ahead and put it in one of these page protectors. They're meant for like pocket scrapbooking, but the stamps fit just fine. And so these are all older kit stamps in here, and it's just so easy to see what you have and flip through it. And I'm sorry for the glare, but it's, as you can see, just pretty simple to see, you know, what I have. So I would encourage you guys, if you have a large stamp collection, to go ahead and store them this way. I had this album left over from a project. It ended up being too small for what I needed it for, and just put my stamps in here. And they also sell larger ones with much bigger spines. This is not that big, made for stamp storage. But I like to use the page protectors better than what they offer. So just a quick flip through of some of the illustrated faith stamps that I like. So I think this helps me use them longer than just that month's devotional kit when I have them handy, you know, sitting off to the side of my desk, and I can just easily flip through them. Now I'll get back to our process video. So now that that's dry, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the joy elements from the Fruit of the Spirit collection, and then also use these hot pink alphabet stickers to spell out the word joy. I'm lining it up across the top of my Bible mat just to be able to move them around, see where they'll look best without committing to sticking them down. So like I said, at this point I don't love the way that the page is looking. I'm realizing I don't love yellow on the cream pages. It just makes it seem even that much more cream to me. So you'll see me struggle here for a little bit. As I was creating the page, I thought, I'm in the weeds, but I really do like how it came out. So I'm being careful there not to go ahead and cover the verse in 1 John that I'm journaling with that lemon die cut. I think it's kind of funny that I'm talking about joy and I'm going to use a lemon, which is like sour, but it was the color I wanted, so. And then also, if you haven't noticed, the color scheme I'm going for is pink, green, and yellow. And at this point I realized I need to bring another bright color into the mix, and so I'm going to pull out some teal alphabet stickers here in a moment. And that really turned the entry around. If I had just left it these three colors, the yellow, the greens, and the pinks, I don't think I would have liked how it came together. So now I'm looking to like the bluish teal elements on the sticker sheet to see what I can layer behind that lemon to bulk it up a little bit, because I didn't love the yellow on green. So I'm looking through the 12x12 patterned papers here, and there's one that has these like faux washi strips, and I thought, okay, maybe if I cut some of these out and layer them as if they were washi tape, that would help bulk up the entry a little bit. It didn't end up working out, but I wanted to keep it in the process video so you could kind of see my thought process behind making the page. So I didn't really want that phrase that said made by grace, but I wanted the color. So I'm trying to layer it in a way that you still get the color peeking out from behind the lemon, but you can't necessarily read that phrase. I also trimmed some of the white border around the die cut piece. I like to do that sometimes. And then I have this pink cross washi here. Like I said, I didn't want to bring in too much pink because the pink is really set by the alphabet stickers, but I'm going to see how it works here. So I went ahead and adhered the lemon down on top of the washi and that other piece of patterned paper, and I don't love it. I knew I wanted to layer the joy title over the lemon, so I'm piece by piece gonna start removing things that I had originally put down. So now I'm thinking, man, I am in the weeds. What am I going to do? I don't like the way that this is coming together. So I just kept going. I just committed to my title at that point. So I went ahead and stuck that down. I'm going to align it to the left a little bit here so that my J isn't hanging off the page. And I'm like, okay, I like how that looks. I'm looking here at this leaf on the bottom and thinking, all right, I'm going to go ahead and commit to that now, and then leave half of it hanging off the edge, and then I'll just go back with a pair of scissors and trim off anything that hangs off the bottom of the page. When I do that, I like to keep those pieces, and that may seem like trash to you. It probably is, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it here and show you how I use it in a few minutes. Sorry I'm out of the frame here, but I knew I wanted to use that little lemon circular sticker from the 12 by 12 sticker sheet, and that's going to come in right now. So again, like I said, I wanted to create a little cluster here at the bottom, and you can see that I'm using the punctuation from this pink sticker sheet. So I'm using the 3 asterisks that came with the sticker sheet to bring some of that pink down to the bottom. And then, like I said, I really wanted to bring in some teal. The alphabet stickers didn't work out, so I turned to the New Words sticker book and decided to just put that around my page in a few places. And I love how it's looking at this point. I love the green and the yellow and the hot pinks down there at the bottom, but I want to bring some more teal in. So I'm going to take a pencil eraser that I've never used before with this cobalt green Faber-Castell brush pen, and I did have to walk away from this page for a minute, but when I was away, I was like, well, what reminds me of joy? You know, like, what do you just think of that's joyful? And my answer was confetti, so I decided to put some confetti around the page. So I'm coloring with the big brush pen, this brand new eraser that I've never used, and then stamping it down as if it were a stamp, and I'm not re-inking it in between like stamp impressions so that there's some variation in the confetti dots there. And then I'm going to go ahead and take these like green leaf pieces that I had left over from the bottom, and I'm going to try and make them work across the top. And I'm essentially covering the little confetti impressions that I just made on the page, so I'll go ahead and put a few more of those in. And now I've got a little triangle on my page. I've got the leaves at the top, I've got the lemon, and I've got the leaves at the bottom. So they're creating a little triangle that moves your eye around the page. And it looks just so tropical at this point too. I love, love, love how it turns out. And then the texture stamp that I used, you almost kind of get like a leaf texture from those too. It looks like the grain that you would find like on a tropical leaf or something. I used the pink illustrated faith journaling pen to highlight my journaling for today. It's 1 John 1, 1 through 4. And then I'm just looking here to see what more wordfetti I can add. So I really liked this phrase, in Christ. And I'm going to go ahead and put that up at the top by the leaves, just like I did on the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp this little asterisk around. It comes with the Fruit of the Spirit stamp set. And I love this. I feel like this really tied the page together. It brought some black in to ground the entry, and this really helps move your eye around too. This is so totally a mixed media Bible journaling entry because you're building layer upon layer upon layer, and the more like layers that you add, I feel like the more interesting looking it gets. So if you find yourself not loving what you're creating, just keep going, push through it, because you may be pleasantly surprised with how it turns out. Next, I'm going to move on to my journaling. I'll go ahead and read verses 1 through 4 that I'm journaling today. I specifically wanted to talk about the joy that comes from fellowship with God. So John writes here, "That which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes, which we have looked at and our hands have touched, this we proclaim concerning the word of life. The life appeared, we have seen it and testified to it, and we proclaim to you the eternal life, which was with the Father and has appeared to us. We proclaim to you what we have seen and heard, so that you may have fellowship with us. And our fellowship is with the Father and with His Son, Jesus Christ. We write this to make our joy complete." So my journaling here just says simply, joy is not found in a fallen world. It is only fellowship with God that can make our joy complete. So I didn't take up as much room as I thought I would with the journaling, and I've got some blank space between the elements at the bottom and where my writing ends, and I did not love that. So I'm looking here to see what I can add to kind of fill in the space. So I ended up repurposing that little pineapple piece of washi tape and putting it vertically on the page. It ended up just being the right colors that I wanted to use. And then I'm looking at some wordfetti here. This is actually from Michael's. So the phrase that I landed on was, I know joy, because I've absolutely experienced joy in my life and just want to document that here. So I added a little bit more confetti to fill in some of that space underneath the journaling. I'm not done yet. I'm looking for some more pieces here. I think I used all 3 asterisks that were on this sticker sheet. So I'm looking to see what other punctuation I can use, and I found some like dots here. So I ended up using those. I added another stamp to the right of that wordfetti, and that's going to do it. So here's a finished look at my page along with a couple of close-ups. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. Everything I used is linked in the video description below. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you soon.